Hey guys, my name is Brenda and welcome to Language Tech, where I'm sharing with you my process into learning different languages and also some cultural experiences that I've encountered. For this week's video, following the path of my Instagram stories, where I've started with Chinese and then moved to German, it's Germany's time. And since I want to help you to adapt into Germany's way of living in a smoother way, I'm bringing you 5 things that you should absolutely know before visiting or moving to Germany. And if you stay till the end of the video, a bonus on how to master German pronunciation. Number 1. Look for an apartment beforehand. When I first moved to Germany, I was looking for an apartment like 3 or 2 months in advance. And this is because most probably you're not the only one on the list. I was like the 100th on the list actually. And I had a bunch of interviews before finding the right one. And even if you find the right one for you, it doesn't mean that they think you are the right fit for them. What do I mean with this? For example, me, I was living in AVG, so that's what I can tell you about. My experience in AVG. What they are looking for is the right fit into the Vegas way of living. So that probably you might have the same hobbies as they do, or something that's interesting or fitting into their way of living. Basically that you'll be nice to live with. And this is something quite different from Mexico. I don't know about other countries, but in Mexico what I've seen is that if you have the money, you pay for it and then you start living into the apartment and let's see how it works out. But in Germany they want to figure out beforehand and make sure that you are just the right fit. Number 2. Beware that you're not talking loud in the S-Bahn or the U-Bahn. In my experience, Germans are very respectful in shared public spaces. This might be the same case for some other countries, but for example, Mexicans or Italians or South Americans or Spanish, we are very loud. So pay special attention to this one because I actually remember one case where there wasn't even a foreigner and he was a local and he was speaking through his cell phone and he was telling some other guy how awful of a day he had. And there was this other guy in front of him at the S-Bahn going to the airport. And I remember how he got up and he told him, "Do we all need to hear your conversation? Do we all need to know what a shitty day you had?" But for some other countries, like for example Mexico, it doesn't really matter whether you're talking loud or even listening to music. Like, we don't really care about that. And that same thing happened to my friend and me when she came from Mexico to Germany to visit me, and then we spent some days there and then we traveled to Italy. And in Italy it was the same thing. No one even cared if you were playing music or if you were talking loud or screaming or whatever. It's your own life to live and no one is complaining about it. But in Germany, just be respectful of the other one's ears. Number 3. Beware that you're not standing on the bike line. I actually learned this one on my first day in Germany. If you have seen my story time on Instagram, I told you about the story of what happened to me on my first day, and I was looking for this thing very desperately and I accidentally stepped into one of the bike lanes. And there was this woman really yelling at me not to step on the bike line. Are you blind? Yeah, well, just don't do it because it can really annoy Germans. Number 4. Always bring money with you. And with this, I mean bills, coins. Always bring the physical money. In Germany, it's most likely you're not going to have the card option to pay with. This actually happened to me in a McDonald's. Who would have thought, right? I had my card and I wanted to pay and they didn't accept card. Number 5. Speak at least a little bit of German if you're planning to stay longer. With stay longer, I mean you're not just visiting Germany as a tourist, but rather you're planning to stay for a year or for even longer than that. This is something that is not really a necessity, but it's really nice of you to do. Because if you're already planning to stay longer, then you might as well try to communicate in their own language, right? I'm not expecting everyone to speak a foreign language only because of you. Plus, I found that locals were actually very nice to me when I started speaking German, and even if I made some horrible mistakes, they were always trying to help me. This for me goes hand by hand with getting to know their culture. You're showing them you're interested in learning something about them and you're giving something back. So that will be it for the tips. If you have ever visited or lived in Germany, please let me know if you've encountered the same things or maybe some differences or maybe something else. And if you stay till the end of the video, I promise a bonus tip on German pronunciation. I actually got this idea after seeing all over the internet this meme where it says like I want to learn German and then it appears a very long word and everyone's like, no, I'm not learning German anymore. And I've seen this kind of memes very often where they say like a big word in German and it's like very complicated and what the hell am I looking at? So now I'm bringing you my major tip on how to pronounce this difficult word. Let's take the example of the meme. They are saying 555. See what I did there? I break down the word. So 555. And then you can say it all together. 555. See? Easy, right? I can totally get that saying this kind of words might be overwhelming at first. For example, one time I had to make a presentation in front of the whole classroom, full of locals, and me being the only foreigner, and I had to practice one single word the whole afternoon. And it wasn't even that difficult, it was Veröffentlichung. And I think it was the thing of having too much F sounds together. So if you ever encounter again one of these complicated words, just practice and it will become natural eventually. That was it for today's video. Hope you liked it and share with those that you think might help.